Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So it is literally almost a month on Saturday since I had my daughter Glory, and I'm just here to share my experience. Anyways, so I'll just start from the very beginning. So I remember a Sunday night, it was a Sunday night, I started having contractions, and these contractions weren't like soft and got hard. These were like hard, booming contractions from the very beginning. It was literally like midnight when they started. And it was to the point where I was moaning and all that. So then here comes Monday night, and I started having contractions again. And these contractions literally started around 11 p.m., I want to say. And I don't know, people look at me like, what is this girl doing? But anyways, so around 11 they started, and see the pattern. And these ones started off kind of soft, and they gradually got worse. And my boyfriend, he's just knocked out because he worked, I think, like a 11-hour shift that day. And so I'm just going through the contractions. I'm laying down, and I started getting up. So I'm like, okay, let me see if I get up, will these contractions kind of die out? Because that's what they did Sunday night. Like whenever I got up, they would die out. And so at this point, it's becoming a pattern of me just getting up, using the bathroom, getting water to stay hydrated, and just going back and forth between that. And whenever I laid down, again, I just noticed that the contractions would just get really intense. But they were still going when I was standing up. So around 2 p.m. is when finally they were getting to the point where I was just moaning. My boyfriend is up at this point. He's rubbing my back. He's helping me out. And he's like, look at me. I want to say a half hour after that, so around like 2:30. Finally, I was just like, all right, I think it might be time for us to hit the road. So I go, I take a shower, I shave everywhere. Again, I go get more water because I'm just trying so hard to stay hydrated. I told my boyfriend, look, I'm gonna call my doctor and see what he says. Call the after service line, like, look, get me to the doctor now, have them call me back because I've been having these contractions. They're like 2 minutes apart, if not less. Contractions are pretty bad. I think I'm ready to go in. So the doctor called me back, I want to say about 10 minutes after I made that call to the after call line. And he's just like, ask me all these questions. He's like, all right, well, if you want to go in, go ahead and go in. I'll give the call and I'll let them know that you're coming in. So 3 o'clock, we're out the door, bags packed in the car, everything. And at this point, I'm just like really tired of my contractions. And I noticed that they are starting to slow down, but I'm still having them. So I was kind of worried because I really don't want to be sent home. I really don't want to be sent home. So we get to the hospital. My boyfriend is driving so fast, by the way. He was driving so fast. I'm like, calm down. I'm not going to have her in the car. So they get us in there to triage, asking all the questions, have me change to the gowns, get us to a room, try to put an IV in. I have really bad veins that they can't find for some reason. Don't know why, but they had to call IV therapy to come and put the IV in for me. And then after that, I pretty much fell asleep. Like, I had no contractions or anything. So around 7:15-ish something, I don't know how I know these times, but I literally know the times, maybe because it's all fresh in my mind. But around like 7:15-ish, one of the student nurses came in. She's just like, like, you're not really having contractions for the last few hours. So at this point, we're going to need to put you on Pitocin to get the contractions up and running again. We're going to call your doctor and see. So she call the doctor, come back, and she's like, well, you're only 38 weeks, and your doctor really doesn't want to induce you. And mind you, I'm 3 centimeters at this point. At 4, at least to my knowledge, is when they really keep you. So she's like, you're only 3 centimeters, you're only 38 weeks, your doctor doesn't really want to induce you at this point. So you could pretty much just go home and get some rest. So to me, it sounded like they were giving me a choice, like, either you can try to fight this and we'll talk to your doctor about like giving you the Pitocin or just go home. And I'm just like, you know what, I'm tired. I'm just going to go home. I'm not even going to like, I'll choose my battles wisely. I'm just going to go home and go to sleep. So this brings us to Tuesday. And of course, my contractions started again. So this time it started about the afternoon instead of night. And I was with my mom in the kitchen. And every time I had a contraction, I would get up, I would rock, I would grab a hold of something. Continue this trend of just rocking and standing up with my contraction and moaning through them and breathing through them. And then I want to say around 8, I called my doctor or the after call line and let them know, hey, can you call my doctor? My contractions started up again and I think I want to go to the hospital. And the doctor called me back right away and he was just like, you know, like, are you sure you want to go? It's still kind of early. You should probably just try a little longer. And if you really can't take it, just go ahead and go. So I was like, all right. Waited 2 hours. 10 o'clock came. I'm like, no, I gotta go. I called the after call line. After call line, I didn't even tell him to put me through the doctor. I said, I'm going to the hospital. Let my doctor know. So me and my boyfriend, we get to the hospital and we check in again. This time they didn't bring us to triage. They just brought us straight to a room. And again, the nurse was awesome. She's seen my arms. I was pretty bruised up from them trying to put the IV in last time. So she was like, I'm not even gonna bother trying. I'm just gonna call IV therapy for them to come do it. They put it in right away. And basically they just let me kind of like did what I wanted to do. So I just let them know, like, I'm not gonna just lay here. I want to walk, I want to bounce, and things like that to just get through the contractions. She was like, that's fine. We'll just every 2 hours get you on a monitor for at least 20 minutes to monitor your contractions and monitor the baby, which was fine. So I bounced on the ball. I walked the halls. I stood up, and whenever they put me on a monitor, I lay down for a good 2 or 3 hours. And then that's when I was just like getting really tired, so I laid down and I actually slept through not through the contractions, but like I would sleep, I would feel a contraction, get up, moan, do what I need to do, go back to sleep, feel a contraction, get up, and throughout the whole night. So then finally morning came and they switched nurses around 7, I want to say. And then the student doctor came back and again, she was just like, you're not really having that many contractions. It looked like they stopped again. But let's just, you know, wait on your doctor. She's on her way to the hospital now. And I have multiple doctors. I go to a practice that have 5 doctors, but I know all 5 of them because I see all 5 of them throughout my pregnancy. So I know exactly who's going to be delivering. So one of the doctors come, again, that I know from my practice, and she's just like basically telling me again, like, hey, your contractions stop. You're still early, 38 weeks. So we're not really sure what we're going to do, but we might just send you home. And literally like 10 minutes later, my doctor came back and she was just like, you know, I was just looking over your records and I seen, you know, the last couple times that you've been to the practice, your blood pressure has been high, which it has not been throughout my pregnancy. Like my blood pressure was always the same. And she was just like, you know, it just looks like you're going to be like borderline preeclampsia. So technically I can go ahead and induce you off of that, or I can go ahead and send you home. So honestly, I really didn't care what to do. So I looked at my boyfriend, like, what do you think we should do? Should we just go ahead and let her induce us, or should we just go home? Because she was pretty much just like leaving it up to me on what I wanted to do at that point. My boyfriend, being the laid back person he is, he was just like, I don't know, whatever you want to do, we can do. So I'm just like looking at her like, okay, well, whatever you feel like we should do, we can go ahead and do it. And she was like, you know what, let's just go ahead and get you started on Pitocin. And let's get this going because, you know, high blood pressure, preeclampsia, if you know, that's nothing to play with. So So my nurse hooks up the Pitocin to my IV to get the bar rolling in, and my contractions did start. And again, Pitocin contractions are nothing to play with. They hurt 10 times worse. So eventually I did get the epidural, which hurted. It just felt like they were like digging in my back with a needle. Like that's how best I could describe it for you. But anyways, eventually the closer I got to having her, the pressure just got worse. It just got so much more intense. It just felt like a bowling ball was between my legs. It was just so bad. It wasn't pain, it was just major pressure. They came and checked me and I was dilated at a 7, and I guess they started to notice that I was bearing down, which again I wasn't doing on my own. My body was naturally doing that. And the student nurse literally power walked to the side of my bed, and she was just like, listen, you have to stop bearing down, otherwise, because your cervix isn't thinned out, you will basically bleed to death. Like, you have to stop. And I really wanted to tell her, like, shut up, I'm not doing it like on purpose, my body's naturally doing it, but I'm just like crying so hard, and everything she said went through one ear and out the other. So I guess she called my doctor, and my doctor came to me and she's like, listen, like, you have to stop, you have to relax. This is what would happen if you keep bearing down how you are, which basically I would just bleed out. And it really just got bad after that. So I guess they noticed that basically my body was not stopping from bearing down. So they called the anesthesiologist again, and basically he let me know, like, we really didn't want to give you too much Pitocin because we want you to feel when you push, but we're going to basically just give you more so you can stop bearing down. So they gave me more. I want to say about after a few minutes, which felt like forever, but after like a few minutes, I started to feel a little better, but I was still like crying. They were just talking me through it, let me know, like, hey, just breathe, don't bear down, try to relax. And I was just trying my best to just try and relax. I'm thinking, like, I need to think about me. Like, Glory was doing fine, her heart rate was fine, but I need to think about me. I need to be here for my children. So I'm just trying my best. So thankfully, a short while later, they checked me again, and I was at a 10. I wasn't fully thinned out, but I guess they were able to, like, she was like, had her fingers up there and was just like, well, I can just hold it or something like that, or move your cervix out of the way while you're pushing. So if you want to try and push, go ahead and push. And I know how to push, but the way that they had me, I couldn't push for some reason. And they were just like, okay, just stop. Let's try and like put her in a different position. So they got my legs up. They put me like kind of like elevated the bed. And that's when I started pushing, and that's when she started coming. And I think all in all, the nurse said I pushed for 2 minutes and she was out. And that is my birth story. So Gloria's here. She is healthy, 6 pounds, 3 ounces. She was really tiny. I was kind of like, I wasn't surprised, but again, I was surprised just because her brother to me was kind of big. So I was kind of still expecting her to be big, but then again, my appetite wasn't like how it was with her brothers, and I didn't really eat as much with her, so I kind of expected her to be a tiny peanut. But yeah, she came out healthy. She's here eating, breastfeeding like a champ. She eats too much if you ask me, but that's the life of a newborn. So again, we're close to 1 month postpartum. So expect that video very shortly. But yeah, thank you for watching my video. Like, subscribe, comment. Again, if there's anything that you want to see specifically, just let me know in the comment section. And again, thank you so much for watching.